got it. That's the wrestling intro.
Yeah.
Couch champions.
Get the fireworks going.
What's your wrestler name, Theo?
My wrestler name.
Females.
Big Fantasy.
That's not a good wrestling name.
Oh, you are definitely a
No?
big Carter.
Yeah.
I didn't really watch it. I'll be honest. I didn't really watch a whole lot of it.
Say what? Not even when you were young?
I mean, I got into it because my cousins them used to get into it. So when I went by him, I used to watch a lot. But
You didn't watch the Attitude Era?
what with The Rock them?
Arguably the greatest era of wrestling.
I mean, that's the only one that is relevant in my opinion.
No, there was a lot of eras. I mean, it's a fantasy show, but the Degeneration X era, the
That's Attitude.
Okay, like that was crazy. The Rock versus Stone Cold.
Yeah, I mean that's the one I remember. Is there any other era to remember?
There's lots more if you want to dig back. You
You want to talk about Ric Flair now?
I was about to.
Well,
the
Ric
Nature
Flair
Boy?
kind of stretched through several generations,
Yeah,
several eras.
Hey, have you seen like recent pictures of him?
he actually still looks good.
He was
Yeah,
wrestling.
That's
far into
what I say.
dusty.
Still looks good.
I don't like when they get old and wrestle. Anyway,
All right, let's bring it back. We gone all the way into wrestling.
But I'm sure
Welcome in, man.
I'm sure
Welcome
we can circle
into
this right back to football.
Right back to
as
I'll
we
be
always
trying.
do. As we always
Yes.
do.
This is the Couch Champions Fantasy Football Podcast.
How y'all doing today? Everyone
Yes.
We good, man. We good.
out there? On our calendar,
Right here.
It's the 1st of July. This is when we're recording. And so
Hey.
in my mind, summer
It's the
has
first of the month.
officially began. And so
Well,
I'm
we have
excited.
We have our first name. Well, not name, but we have a tropical storm, so it's definitely summer.
Yes.
Way to put a
Yes.
damper on things, Mr. Zander.
I mean, I was about to try and go
It's a
over the
staple of
positives
summer.
but no, there's no positives. No.
It's a
I mean,
staple
listen.
of summer.
If you got to go through them,
If you grew up in
Anyway.
the Caribbean,
Yeah,
you know
that's
about
true.
hurricanes in the summer.
yeah. But guess what? Everyone listening, we trying to create hurricanes through your fantasy leagues. We're trying to create y'all to sweep through your fantasy leagues as the Hurricanes.
That's
See
a
that?
stretch.
See how I brought that around?
That's a good
That's
A for effort, A for
that
effort.
that comes from 11 weeks of podcasting. Thank you very
That
much.
was a mighty stretch. But okay.
Thank you very much,
A for
guys.
effort.
Welcome to episode 11 of the Couch Champion Fantasy Football Podcast.
Yeah, buddy.
11.
11 down.
Shake the shakers, pull the streamers, all that stuff. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate everyone who listens, who tunes in, who watches, who talks about it, tweets about it, does anything about it. Tattoos our name on your forehead. We'll take it all.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much. We had a good
This go ahead.
we had a good little, mailbag last week, and so I want to do a few more of them a little more often, So thank
Definitely.
you guys. Thank you guys for your questions, and keep sending them in.
Keep on sending in that mailbag. This week though, I decided, maybe we do something a little different. I spring in this one on y'all. This wasn't quite, if you could open up the red carpet a little bit, show people behind what's going on. There wasn't really a show doc this week, right, guys? Not particularly.
Yeah. Kind of winging it.
But what if I tell y'all that was planned? Would y'all believe me?
No,
You
but
know,
go
like
ahead.
to live on the edge sometimes. Spice of life.
Spice of life. So I decided, I thought we could, and I didn't look into these myself, so I could play along. I thought we could just do this thing. I am coining the phrase. Y'all give me a 1 to 10 response on the phrase. This either you true in or you story in.
Okay. I think I can dig that.
We got a little saying in the Bahamas called true in.
How would you explain that for our listeners so they can understand?
Yes. We got to say it in the Bahamas, true and ponder vibe still. That AKA, I'm about to tell you the truth right now.
It's the truth.
And
It's not
storying
true.
is a lie. If you're telling a story, You telling a lie. It's a falsity. You're making something up. Basically, I'm gonna
Capping.
tell y'all. I'm gonna give y'all
Yes.
some fantasy outlooks for different players and teams and whatnot. And y'all tell me whether I story in or I true in.
All right.
Outlooks or the historical stats.
No, not historical stats. I'm basically talking about this season coming up
Okay.
and talking about the outlooks for either players or teams or whatever.
Okay.
Okay.
So we set it off like this. Y'all understand it after the first question. Is Kyle Pitts a top 4 tight end this season? True in or story? Well, Kyle Pitts is a top 4 tight end this season. I gotta say it like that. That's true or story?
That is interesting.
Hmm.
Very interesting.
Top 4 tight end. For the record, I just to pull this up, I also have the stats, all the stats from last year. If y'all need any help of how that played out last year. Last year, Travis Kelce was the number 1.
Yeah.
Darren Waller was the number 2.
Mhm.
Robert Tonyan was number 3. Mark Andrews was number 4.
Whoa.
All right,
So
so-
we're saying that he's going to
So
be
can Kyle Pitts do what Mark Andrews did last season? Pretty much.
Story in, bro. Story in.
I think that's
Storian.
as optimistic as I am, I think that
Storian.
first year tight end, even though he has all the
Yeah.
opportunity in the world.
Mm-hmm.
First year
Talk
tight
about
end,
it. Tell me why Storian.
he has all the opportunity in the world, but he's still a first year tight end. I just don't see it happening. I still think he needs time to develop.
I think.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I think his ceiling is top 5. His floor, I would say top 10.
Right.
So he has the
I could agree with
potential,
that.
but whether or not he gets there is another story.
And even a top 10 as a rookie is great. And so
It is.
And so that's where I would project it. He could easily blow that away, but I wouldn't bet money. I wouldn't bet money.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't bet money on that.
I wouldn't.
So y'all are definitely on the less, the bearish side.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not quite,
like I said,
not quite buying it, because you have a lot of people right now in the fantasy community just kind of going a little crazy.
Yeah.
But I definitely agree with you guys. I think we need to just pull the brakes a little bit on the Kyle Pitts hype. We know he's going to be amazing. This is his first year in the league, though. I mean,
First year.
we can't project him to just come out and be amazing. Is it possible? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But to
because-
project him to do it and to say that he definitely will do it is reaching.
Yeah,
because, people
takes a
people
special
fail to
breed.
forget. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
People fail to forget Travis Kelce, as great as he is, he was in the league for maybe 5 or 6 years before people even knew who he was and before he emerged. And so we got to be realistic about the timeline it takes to be a great top 4, top 5 tight end in the league.
Absolutely.
It takes a special breed of player to come into the league and dominate year 1, especially when you have this much hype and what's the word I'm looking for? Expectations. That's it.
Yeah.
And this much expectations on you is really hard to live up to that.
Yeah.
And now Julio is going. He have the story. He has the surroundings to back it up. All these Julio is gone. All these vacated targets.
Yeah.
It's just like the pathway is there. You don't get us wrong. The pathway is there. But when you are in what this boils down to is what we don't want you to do when you're in your fantasy drafts to get to that round where you're thinking, oh, Mark Andrews is gone. Darren Waller is gone. Travis Kelce is gone. And you're like, oh, Kyle Pitts, 4th, 5th round. No.
Yeah.
Let someone else do that.
Agree.
It's gonna be it's probably not going to be a great year. I would say at that point, right now you still need to be grabbing your wide receivers and running backs in those rounds. Kyle Pitts is not an early round tight end, not yet.
Yeah.
And not to linger on this, but even Mark Andrews, I had him in Dynasty, and I had to sit on him for about a year before he made any fantasy production. And in the 3rd year is when I would say he was elite. He still isn't the Kelce as yet, and that's what I project this year. but that's 4 years. And Mark Andrews had a 99 percentile score in the combine. And so that just puts it into perspective, what it takes.
Mhm. Definitely. All right, let's move on.
Okay.
Derrick Henry is a 2,000-yard rusher again this season.
You mean
Last year, Derrick Henry ran for 2,000 yards, broke a bunch of records. Was the RB1, the RB overall one last year with 300. Overall he averaged 19.6 points per game. Average. So, and was breaking that most of the time. So, Derrick Henry, not much for him. Not much has changed. The offense might have changed a bit, but for him, particularly in his part of the field, the Titans want to run the ball. We know that, and no one's taking him off the field. So, Truman or Storian.
Let me tell you this story, right?
Tell me your stories, Amber.
No, I joking. I see him repeating because honestly, like they added Julio, but Julio's just getting the vacated targets of Jonnu and what's the other boy's name?
Humphreys and
Humphreys,
Corey Davis.
Corey Davis. So he's just getting those vacated targets. So I don't think that takes anything away from Henry. Plus the backfield hasn't changed. He still is the king in the back there. The game, Tennessee's game still goes through him. So I could see him getting 2,000 yards again. Now, will he be as dominant as he was last year? Does he repeat the same numbers? I don't know, but I think he still cracks 2,000.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if this is more optimism or not. I love Derrick Henry. He's on my team. I want him to be great, but I don't want him to do another 2,000-yard season. He's an older guy, and I think with the moves that Tennessee has made, that they definitely want to lead with the run, but they definitely want to pass the ball a little bit more. They want to step that game up with the addition of Julio. And so I don't think that they want him to have 2,000 yards. 1,500 could still be awesome. 1,600 could still be awesome. I say I think it's a story.
Wow.
Yeah.
I will say I didn't expect that. If anyone, I expected like the overhype. It would be from you, but
I'm
controlled take from Sherlin Gadet people. There's just marvel in this. It doesn't happen often.
Somewhere on your roster, Derrick Henry is crying.
No, this is the fantasy analyst in me. I am a fan, but as being an analyst, I don't see them doing another 2,000. I don't see the team wanting to put another 2,000 yards on one man. It's a team sport.
I think there's a difference between wanting to have him run 2,000 yards and him actually doing it. Because when Derrick Henry started moving downhill, I mean, very little can stop him. He just racking up yards upon yards. So I don't think they go and saying, all right, we need Derrick Henry to get 2,000 yards.
But I think they do. They give him about 30 carries per game. Like that's
I mean, when your option is let Derrick Henry run or let Ryan Tannehill throw it, what you can do?
Oh gosh, which battle do I have to choose? Do I have to stick up for Derrick or stick up for Tanny?
That's up to you.
And they didn't go out and get it like a strong backup. They got Devonta Foreman. If he can behave, if he can last through the off season without getting arrested, I think they would like to lean on him a little bit more. Darrington Evans was a rookie backup last year who barely saw the field. I think they want to work these guys in. That's how I really feel. So I would like for it to be a story, and it would make sense.
To me, I see the opposite. Like them picking up these less than desirable running backs is like these just in case something happened. We ain't really trying to work them into our plan. They just there in case.
Yeah. I mean, as we know,
I agree. At the end of the day, I agree with Sherlin. I feel like there's more of a story just because variance and generally speaking, players don't repeat. League breaking and record breaking seasons.
Russian champion.
Just generally speaking, it doesn't happen again. name the greatest running backs, ever, and you'll see that very rarely was it, if ever, was it done back to back.
Agree.
So, Derrick Henry definitely gonna be great again, but 2,000 yards. I mean, that's crazy, son. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
All right. And one or two more. We'll see how this one, depending on how long this one run. Carson Wentz. Can Carson Wentz provide 2 top 25 wide receivers this season? Top 25 wide receivers now, mind you. Also, to help you once again from last season, I'm gonna give you the wide receivers 20 through 25.
Okay.
Curtis Samuel, Will Fuller, Terry McLaurin, Juju Smith-Schuster, Nelson Aguilar, and CeeDee Lamb. These were 20 to 25 last season. That's where they landed.
Who are his current wide receivers?
I'm gonna say Pittman.
Michael Pittman, T.Y. Hilton,
Pascal.
Paris Campbell, Zach Pascal.
Still there? Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah.
I think that's a story.
That's the story. I don't see it happening. Maybe in year 2, but I think he just needs to get his confidence back first.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I think they're gonna lean heavily on the running game to start with, just to kind of work him into that system. So I don't see 2 top 25 wide receivers.
No.
I wonder if they could even get 1, to be honest.
And I don't think they want to. I think they have confidence in Carson, but they don't want to overdo it.
Yeah.
And they have a great defense. That's like there's no reason to.
Yes.
There's no reason for Carson to be airing it out unnecessarily. No.
To me, that's the biggest argument against this take. It's just even if somehow Carson Wentz finds that that percentage from 2 to 3 years ago, that defense, he's never played with a defense this good. Eagles defense has never been shabby, but this is like a lockdown defense. You do not have to throw as much, or you shouldn't have to. And by the time as it comes around to the offensive side of the ball, you're just trying to run. You're just trying to run down this clock.
Yeah. They won't be in many shootouts to facilitate top wide receiver numbers.
Mm-hmm. You can hope for 1, but 2 is a stretch.
Yeah,
big stretch.
Last one. Kyler Murray ends the season as the overall QB1.
Shall I take this?
In this NFL?
No, I don't see it.
Mind you, Kyler Murray was the QB2 last season.
Yeah.
He ended the season as QB2.
Yeah. If we take
who was the QB1?
Josh Allen.
Yeah, it was Josh Allen. I see that's the argument there. Who does he have to beat out this year? A healthy Dak Prescott.
I don't think that.
Patrick Mahomes.
And that's not really
Patrick
Mahomes. Yes, that's the first contender you mentioned.
Jalen Hurts.
Oh my God.
And Tom Brady. No, I don't see it. It's possible, but not plausible.
Wow, I disagree with you guys here. I think it's very possible, and I'm gonna call truth on this one. Kyler Murray. I mean, unless they go for an extreme change of philosophy on that team,
they won't.
And it's the equation to a QB1 performance is a running quarterback that with an accurate pass. How is he not going to be successful on that? The guy sneaked how many touchdowns last season?
A lot, I think. Maybe
I mean, he is.
Something? I can't remember.
Yeah, I mean he's the definition of a running quarterback. Got DeAndre Hopkins in the backfield. Some wide receiver additions as well. I mean, I could see it. I definitely can see it happening. I don't think it's and at the very least, I don't think it's as easily, throwaway as a throwaway of a concept as you guys are making it seem.
I
just
must
think it's
admit, you have changed my mind.
Yeah.
I can see it happening.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
just think a lot of guys are going to step up. Even what's his name from the Chargers?
Herbert.
Herbert. You know, I can see him.
I mean, I think he'll definitely be in that race.
Yeah, what I'm saying is I'm not taking away from Kyler, but to be the number one, that's a tall order.
He has the chance and the opportunity to do it.
Absolutely. Also going in the 5th round right now.
Kyler.
So at the end of the day, he's one of the more affordable when you know, around that round is when I personally start to say, maybe, depending on how my team layout is.
Yeah, I've softened on my approach. You know, I was more of a late round guy, but you know, I've seen a lot of mock drafts where if you are reaching for greatness, you know,
yeah, man, you can if it falls to you. But that's the thing about the late round strategy is you can't just say I will never draft the QB until I get past a certain round. No, it's about value.
Agree.
It's about value. If you see Patrick Mahomes drops to the 4th round, if you don't take that man, what?
Seriously.
If Patrick Mahomes drops to the 4th, you have to question your league.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so there's definitely always instances where you have to make a caveat, and that's why it's always good to prepare yourself for your draft.
Agree.
Be ready for the moves and be ready for the players that drop to you, as well as the snipers that are gonna take players away from you.
Like Xander.
Like Xander and Sherlin.
What?
All right.
Let's
get into it. Let's get into this. This week we're talking about the AFC West.
Oh yeah.
Final division.
Is it the final?
AFC West. No, I don't think so.
No, it's not.
We still do the AFC East.
Can't do it already?
No, sir.
No. You poo-pooing on these teams. A whole 4 teams you poo-pooing on.
I think we have one more team in the NFC too, don't we?
Yeah,
You say AFC East? We do AFC East already.
No, we haven't. The Bills, the Dolphins, the Patriots. Have you talked about the Patriots yet?
I feel like we have.
Hold on. I feel you cheating on us. You have other friends you talk fantasy football.
I need to know. I need to know because when did you?
We'll have to address us after the show.
I feel like we have already.
And we also have not talked about the NFC North.
I can smell the perfume on you, Glenn.
I mean, I don't know what to do with you, sir.
All right, let's get into it.
AFC West breakdown. The AFC West, the teams in the AFC West, just in case you needed that little reminder, as we all do sometimes. The Denver Broncos, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Los Angeles Chargers.
We start
pretty. I would say this division is well, we already know the Chiefs are in this division, so you know it's very top heavy.
Yeah.
But you know the Los Angeles Chargers with the addition of Justin Herbert last season really made their debut.
Yeah.
So I say let's start off with the upcoming boys, the Chargers.
Awesome. That's what I wanted to talk about first.
Oh, well, go right ahead, Sherlin. Be my guest.
So let's start at the top. I'm very high on Herbert. And then redraft. I think Herbert can be, I can't remember his ADP, but I think you could get him at a great value. Possibly sometime in the 8th or 9th. You could check up to see where he actually is going, Theo.
I'll bet that for you.
But if I could get him using my late round quarterback strategy after I've already had a stacked team of running backs and wide receivers, I would be very, very happy.
Justin Herbert currently going at the 602.
It's a little spicy right now.
It's not bad.
It's not too bad.
Little bit spicier, but like we said before, depending on team makeup.
Depending on the team makeup.
Yeah, if you have a
this is after Lamar Jackson is gone, Dak is gone, Kyler is gone, Josh Allen is gone, Mahomes is gone.
Wow, he's actually going very high. I was hoping, you know, I could have still snuck him out in the 8th or 9th.
Well, your boy is going in the 8th.
Who's that, Mr.
Boy
Hurts? Okay, no, say no more. Say no more.
I mean, Herbert had a really good rookie season, so it's understandable people
Yeah,
Yeah,
be
it,
biting on
it's
him.
that's still very fresh in people's minds.
he's still very fresh. And then moving down to the running back, I don't want to say room. It's pretty much just a booth with some other guy standing outside. So it's Austin Eckler. He's my boy, and what I like about him is he's game script proof. He's the first RB1 when they're losing, and also when they're winning, he catches a ton of passes. And so to have him as your RB2 or 3, sometimes even a 1, depending on how you do your team, like it would be awesome. These other guys in the room, don't even bother. Don't even bother.
Oh,
Uh,
someone sounds a little hurt.
it's a little bit.
You don't want some
hard.
Joshua Kelly?
I don't want a Joshua Kelly. I don't want a Justin Jackson. Yeah. Can we move on from these running backs?
So
Yeah, let's.
what about their wide receiver room?
Listen, this is just the wide receiver room particularly is interesting this season. I think. Looking at we already know Keenan Allen is a locked and loaded.
Locked in.
Yeah.
Locked and loaded top 10 wide receiver.
Yeah, with a little bit of risk. Though.
Um,
We gotta say the risk. He has some injury risk, and I don't know if he's played.
I just don't. I don't know. I mean, yes, he has injury. He does have injury risk.
He was pretty good
But-
last season. I don't think he was injured last season.
For the last couple of seasons, he was injured. He did miss a game or two last season.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but I think Keenan Allen has gotten this kind of injury risk label on him from the beginning of his career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it hasn't really played out like that the past couple of seasons. And if you have played into that particular take a little bit too much, it could cost you.
I agree.
Especially now that he finally has, because he was doing that with Phillip Rivers, who was starting to lose his prime, and whoever they had before Justin Herbert, and still being able to provide you with numbers. So I mean, Keenan Allen still is constantly referred to as the best route runner in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
So definitely, I think I love to have Keenan Allen. I love to get him personally. Running mocks. He's been a consistent player that I get around his ADP, which is in the 4th round, I believe.
Not bad at all.
Yeah. I mean, Keenan Allen is definitely one of those players that you have him on your team, you lock him in, you don't have to worry about him.
If he's
Your
played.
thoughts on
Yeah.
he may just lose you your game to go into the championships because he get injured catching a touchdown and the touchdown didn't count.
Oh wow.
Oh boy,
Speak on it. Speak
boy,
on
there's
it.
some salt.
That sounds like a story there. Yeah. Woo. Yeah.
Oh, so much pain.
So a lot of
Anyway, what are your thoughts on Mike Williams?
Mike Williams. Okay. Mike Williams is my sleeper this year.
really
One of my sleeper players this year.
Okay.
Okay. Hear me out.
Do explain.
Mike Williams.
Please explain.
I know. Consistently has been a letdown ever since he started. He had high hopes on his name ever since he started in the league. I believe his debut was about 3 seasons ago.
Mhm.
Right? Mind you, the first season he did come into the league injured, and he came into the league around the time when Phillip Rivers was on the decline. Pretty much the only thing he was good for was those little short throws
Right.
to Eckler, and being bolstered by Keenan Allen's great route running. The biggest thing about Mike Williams was the injuries, but if you actually look at what he's done when he's been healthy on the field, dude isn't. I mean, he's really, really good and consistently wins on these on these jump balls and contested catches.
50-50.
He's a big guy. He's a big boy.
Maybe too big.
Mike Williams reminds me of Fuller.
Yeah.
Like they constantly show you that they have so much potential, but just either always injured or disappearing.
Yeah, because
The,
even on this tape, those games when Keelan Allen was injured, like everybody was like, "Oh, Mike Williams is gonna have a big game," and he didn't. And so I must admit, I'm very much burnt on Mike Williams because whenever he
what
was given the opportunity, he didn't take advantage of it.
Here's my last point. And the most convincing point to you should be my favorite thing about him is the lack of the lack of faith everyone else has in him. Because you know what that means? You don't
Yeah,
have
for
to really
free.
give up anything to get him.
Not true.
You get him for absolutely free, and you have someone, with this new Justin Herbert team. We still don't know exactly what's going to happen. We just know Justin Herbert is a really good quarterback. Mike Williams, due to injury again last season, didn't really get a whole lot of chance to play with him.
Right.
And so he's coming in. Of course, we have to take this with a grain of salt, but everything from the camp has been glowing. Mike Williams just recently has been named the X receiver on this team.
Yeah.
He's still by the coaching staff still very highly applauded. They still want to get the ball in his hands. At the end of the day, that has to count for something too. So we know that Mike Williams is going to be on the field. He's going to be, starting. He's going to be a starter for Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen, is going to draw probably the top cornerback.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Mike Williams just has to stay healthy in my book. If he can stay healthy, then I think he will provide you with a lot of value for where you're drafting him, which is nowhere. I mean, he's going in like the 12th, 12th round.
Yeah.
I mean, at that value, you could take a risk on him, even if he gets injured. I mean, losing a player you drafted 12 doesn't really affect your team.
Exactly.
Until you
Exactly.
definitely
That's all
onto
I'm saying.
something. No, you
That's all I'm
definitely
saying.
onto something, and I'm onto something as well, and I'm completely jumping over the Mike Williams hype train and going to find the third receiver, who I consider the third receiver, Jalen Guyton. Last season, I
Okay.
think he had, I think the highest amount of air yards per catch or per target, and he was a rookie last year, I think, or second year player. For my sleeper, I am choosing Jalen Guyton, because I'm very hopeful that he has slot potential, and whenever Keelan Allen hangs up his boots, he can be the number two or the number one, depending on what Michael Williams done. Because I think Mike Williams is in the contract here. So in Dynasty,
Yes.
I'm keeping my eye on Jalen Guyton and even the rookie Josh Palmer.
Okay. Okay, definitely something like, I mean, at the end of the day, we know, like we said, Justin Herbert is, he proved himself to be the real deal last season.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of a league shakeup. No one was ready for him.
No.
Yeah.
They had the off season to prepare. They had training camp, all these things. It's just this is an exciting team, and hopefully this is a team that can give us more than two wide receiver prospects. I mean, it's possible.
Because the big takeaway. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, seeing what he did last year, I think it's definitely possible.
The big takeaway is that, guys, we're projecting a ton of air yards from this team, and
yes,
and if there's not two receivers who can benefit, there's definitely going to be at least one. And so, taking a deep dive doctoral on any one of these wide receivers who show and promise, it doesn't hurt.
Last note, let's
Jared.
Oh,
Cook.
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. I was just going to talk about him.
I mean, he a bit long in the tooth, but he still has some. I think he still has some fantasy value.
As a late round tight end, I don't think you can do much better in redraft.
Off the waiver.
Definitely. I think he's going to provide. I mean, for the last past few seasons, Jared Cook has been providing some pretty good tight end value for whatever team he's been on.
Yeah, yes.
Out of tight ends, we know tight end is, the tight end world is a wasteland.
Yeah,
but
I would much rather have a Jared Cook than say a Ingram.
Yeah, or any one of these other nobodies.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I was just trying to look for someone to call out, but you know what's the one thing about this division? There's some pretty good tight ends,
I agree.
Yeah.
like Darren Waller from the Las Vegas Raiders. Look at that transition.
Wow, great transition.
Didn't have to call out your transition.
No, okay, too much.
No.
Okay, let's talk about the Las Vegas Raiders. And I think, generally speaking, you know, this should be quick because I already mentioned the name that you need to know. Can we go move on to the Chiefs?
Oh,
That's how
come
we gonna do
on,
that?
man.
That's how we gonna do that?
They have Henry Ruggs, Josh Jacobs, Nathan Peterman. There's a lot of value here.
Come on. Let's not even mention that name on our podcast. You just downvalued us by 15 points. Thanks a lot, Sander.
We have to be thorough.
You're
Mhm.
gonna have to say
Yeah.
something genius to erase that name.
Ugh.
So what's the
yeah.
most hopeful room though? Out of this, what the running backs, the wide receivers, what you know?
It's other than Darren Waller. I mean, I'm really I'm hard pressed to really want anyone else from this team, to be completely honest.
A lot of people.
Henry Ruggs, John Brown, Hunter Renfro, Brian Edwards, Willie Snead is there. I didn't even realize Willie Snead is there.
Yeah.
I mean,
This is a crowded. Wow.
But
to
a lot
me,
of people are calling for Henry.
their
Ruggs
wide
breakout.
receiver room are like all late round picks to me.
None of you guys are
is
buying
it-
into the Henry Ruggs breakout.
No. There's
No.
too much. There's too much other guys here. It almost kind of looks like they drafted a lot of these guys so that they could just be able to throw the ball to whoever, you know, is available. You know, Hunter Renfro made some plays in the past. You know, John Brown is coming from the Bills. You know, he's been a burner. He's been good in his time, but at the same time, you know, I think if anyone past Waller I'm interested in, it's probably Derek Carr, honestly.
Waiver wise, or I like to draft it.
No, waiver wise, but I mean, it depends on whether you're looking at dynasty or waiver. Derek Carr had a pretty good season last season, you know.
Okay, you gotta tell me about it. 'Cause I can't even imagine.
I mean, you remember what he did to the Chiefs?
I do remember that game.
I feel like they always do that to the Chiefs.
Yeah,
Like
Do they?
one of those.
they
flukes.
save all their energy for the Chiefs for some
like
reason.
how the Dolphins always show up against the Patriots
Only in Miami.
in Miami,
Only in Miami.
and so
I mean, listen, it's not like I'm touting him to be a world beater, but Derek Carr, I think, is a great streamer
He's
in his own
serviceable.
right.
I agree.
When he has the right matchup, look at all he has weapons galore. I mean, he just has weapons out the wazoo.
I mean,
Darren
come on.
Waller is always open. Josh Jacobs, Kenyon Drake. You know, these guys might on their own might not be people that you are really interested in, but I mean, as targets for Derek Carr, there's really no excuse.
Yeah.
I agree. What's your outlook
So-
on Josh Jacobs? Would you say he had a disappointing season last year?
It's so sad. Josh Jacobs, man. I remember when he first got drafted to the Raiders, it was like it was bittersweet because you're like, okay, well, you know, it's the Raiders, but maybe they can use him the way he's supposed to be used. Maybe they finally have a running back that can be there, you know, every down back. But they refuse to use him as an every down back.
That's true. They always had pass catching backs like Jalen Rashad, who's still there.
Yep.
Now they brought in Drake. That's I don't know if that speaks against Josh Jacobs or
Yeah.
what.
I mean, for me, it does.
It's a crowded backfield.
That's a strong,
And
that's
we
a
don't really
strong
have-
guy to put on your team behind Josh Jacobs.
We don't even
Right.
know
I mean,
what direction they trying to go with the backfield. So
Kenyon Drake signed a 2-year deal, I believe, and also got a pretty good amount of money. So it's not like they signed him to sit on the bench.
Yeah.
Drake is gonna get his turn. It's definitely gonna be in a lesser amount to Jacobs, but at this point, I'm just like, I don't really want any of them.
yeah, I
can
wouldn't
agree with
give
that.
up too much draft capital for Jacobs. Like
Yeah.
if you could get him as your running back 3, then sure. But
Yeah, and I just don't think you can. I think right now, his name alone still is netting that value that RB2,
That's good
RB2,
for us.
you know.
That's good
Yeah.
for us because
So
we taking them as RB2.
go ahead and let someone else make that mistake.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's someone else do that.
Oh, and also just, before we move on, I just want to shout out to my namesake Theo Riddick, still in the league on the Raiders. You go, you do it, Riddick.
Can we move on now? Yeah.
Let's move on. Let's talk about the Broncos. Let's save the Super Bowl past champs for
Yes.
last.
Let's talk about them.
The
Boy,
Broncos, another interesting situation.
is interesting the
Denver
right word?
Broncos.
Because boy, I don't know.
It's interesting because they have everything in place, right? I mean,
They do.
if they had a quarterback, we would be
Yes.
looking at multiple awesome fantasy options on this team.
I mean, they have Drew Lock and Teddy Two Gloves, neither of which inspire you.
Inspire great confidence, right? I mean,
Exactly.
Teddy did pretty good. I mean, Teddy supported 2,000-yard receivers last year. Both DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson hit the mark on the
did.
1,000 yards. So I mean, he can do it, but
It's just this team is just frustrating because they have the talent, like they can do it, but for whatever reason, Drew Lock just can't get it together. Like he has moments, and then I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
Yeah.
It sucks because I have stock in this team, so I want the team to be better.
Who's that? Sutton you got?
I have Sutton and Fant.
Yeah.
And Fant, who looks like he could be a really good tight end, but consistency at quarterback is a problem.
I was gonna say, I think that's one of the brightest stars on this team, Noah Fant, as a top 10 tight end.
Listen, if you want to talk about players flashing, he's done a lot of flashing.
Yeah.
I think he just needs consistent quarterback play to put it together.
And he's moving into, I think, his third year. Like this is
Yep.
this is the year where tight ends flourish. I'm very interested in seeing what he can do.
And there's also a question mark on this team because there have been rumors floating for forever that they either want to get Rodgers or Watson, which would dramatically change this team.
Night and day. I mean, over a night, there would be so much of these, all these wide receivers. I mean, they have some great wide receivers on this team.
They do.
I mean, Jerry Jeudy, the number one overall wide receiver from last season, rookie wide receiver from last season.
Yeah.
Tim Patrick, who has a very plain name, but it was a very consistent fantasy out, for a stretch. I had Tim Patrick in the league, so I can tell you, like, I literally, at one point I was just leaving him on my flex as my third flex option and just watching him churn out numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so strange because I didn't really know who this guy was, but no, he's actually really good. Then you have Cortland Sutton, who blew up a season ago, season before last, showing he can be a real number one wide receiver, and KJ Hamler, who is also very talented.
Yeah, he is very talented.
and had a few shining moments last season.
Yep.
It's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, any of these guys, I think, can you draft any of them?
I would take a late round in redraft. I would take a late round flyer on Jeudy.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it.
It's late round for all of these guys just because of the quarterback situation. I'd take a shot on Jeudy or Sutton and maybe Fant, depending on what tight ends left on the board.
Right.
Don't want anything to do with their quarterbacks. So,
do you want to gush on Javonte Williams a little bit, Theo? I know that's your boy.
Listen, man, I if you heard our episode a couple of weeks ago where I talked about the similarities to the number one overall fantasy running back, in size only. No, listen, I don't want to get carried away. Javonte Williams, I think his future is bright.
As well, yeah.
Not this season though. I mean, in redraft, you can wait to see what's gonna happen. I mean, listen, there's a possibility he starts off on fire. If he starts off the season, we're still waiting to hear back, I believe, from Melvin Gordon whether or not he's going to receive any disciplinary action for that. I think he had a DUI or something like that.
Yeah.
If he misses a game or two, and Javonte Williams starts, there definitely could be some hot fire you got to deal with early. And if you find yourself as an owner, you could be in a really good position.
Yeah.
But at the same time, even if that does happen, there's no guarantee that he's going to really provide you fantasy, output, consistent fantasy output. Still a rookie.
Yeah,
Even though he's a running back, running backs perform in their first season more than any other position. But at the same time, we have to allow, just like we said with Kyle Pitts, we have to allow for some, for some NFL.
And we still have to pay Melvin Gordon a little bit of respect.
A little bit. I don't really like
a little bit,
but
a
little bit.
I've had Melvin Gordon for a while, and no one disappoints you quite like Melvin does.
Yeah, but he still gets that opportunity. That's the thing about him.
He gets the opportunity, but he likes to fumble right at the goal line.
Yeah, that too. No,
Right
he
at the
does.
For the record, Jerry Jeudy is going in the 809. Sutton, you think Sutton is going before or after?
Before.
I think he's going after.
Before.
Oh, Sutton is going at the 705.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's still great. Ooh.
So names going around Sutton are Damian Harris, Devonta Smith, Logan Thomas, David Johnson, Tom Brady.
I would take him over all of those guys.
Names going around: Jerry Jeudy, J.D. McKissick, A.J. Dillon, Dallas Goedert, Joe Burrow, Robbie Anderson.
Depending on my team, I may take Harris over Sutton.
Damon Harris. You mean the Patriot? Damon Harris?
The Patriots running back.
We'll talk about that when we get to the Patriots.
He got a little bit of hype this season. I mean, this past week. So,
Yeah,
I can see there's definitely a place for him. But I just wanted to point that out. I think late round, for me, I'm just going for the later guys. So I'd probably just take Jeudy.
You take
In the 809, then yeah.
Okay.
Currently, right now, yeah, I'd just take him over. Prospects, value, and Sutton's still coming off of an injury. We don't know how that's gonna play out. So
that's true. That's true.
I'd probably take Harris and then take Jeudy in the following round.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about them Chiefs. How about them Chiefs?
Chiefs.
Man.
Chiefs with a brand new O-line.
The tomahawk, right? They do the.
Do they?
Yeah, they do that.
They do.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the new O-line Chiefs, Xander. You think this O-line? What do you think about this O-line, man? You think there's going to? I mean, I don't. How much more dominant can they be?
Well, they looked very not dominant
Suspect.
in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they were very suspect.
They had to definitely address that because that type of liability would definitely be exploited by every other team this season. They had to fix that.
Yeah. So, do you think they are, besides the O-line getting improvements on paper, do you think they're going to change any of their gameplay philosophy? Do you think they want to make?
I don't think
rely
so.
more on the run. They want Patrick.
AKA, can we see any fantasy value coming from anyone other than Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce this season?
And Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, it's a given. Patrick Mahomes.
I think they're gonna work CEH into the game plan a bit more, because when the first couple of games he was in, he did great.
Right.
And then they, for some reason, brought in Le'Veon Bell, and then things just started to get weird.
No, remember that was later on. He got an injury. But
yeah, he did have an injury.
Yeah, he did have an injury.
But he was doing really good at the beginning. I see them giving him that chance again.
I think so too. I agree. I think everyone was expecting so much from CEH last season.
Yeah.
Seeing where he went, seeing him go in the first round, they picked, and the running back for the Chiefs for the past, for just about as long as I've been playing fantasy football has been fantasy relevant, from the Spencer Ware days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like because of how much they spent to get him, they're definitely gonna give him another shot this year to break out.
Yeah.
Listen, he's gonna have the opportunity. At the end of the day, what I care about is the opportunity on this team.
Yeah.
We already know that CH he is a dynamic runner. He can do it. They're going to be in the red zone a lot.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
to me, what I'm trying to do is get my play is to get CH as an RB2. You know,
Yeah,
if I'm drafting an RB, if I'm drafting a running back in the first round and a wide receiver in the second, then I'm trying to get CH in the third.
and I think he's fair enough
Oh,
where you
if,
can.
if you can pull that off, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you take him in the late second, I mean, even if you go running back, and if I can have CH as a running back too, I think that is the optimal
That's great.
place for me to draft him.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that.
So you liking anyone in the wide receiver room other than Tyreek Hill? There's been some Mecole Hardman hype recently.
Yes, there has. There has. I mean, you know, Mecole has been someone that I've been hoping for.
You sound so dejected.
Listen, I've been hoping for the Mecole Hardman breakout for as long as he's been in the league. You know, he has made personally, you know, the thing about Mecole is he's made some mistakes on the field personally that has put him kind of in the doghouse a little bit at different times with the team. They still love him.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why we're hearing more about him even now. But at the end of the day, we know what this team wants to do. They succeeded with it last season. I don't really see any reason for them to go away from it.
Yeah.
Is it possible for Mecole to have some value? Yes.
Yeah.
But I actually want to draw attention to a name that's not Mecole, that a late round, either after your draft bench, waiver pickup, or the last pick in your draft.
Is it Byron?
Yes, Byron Pringle. This is a guy that has gotten some off-season hype as well. He was going to leave the team, but the team actually made him an offer to stay. You know, they personally brought him back, and he had some pretty good. He had a couple of nice games last season. If you actually look at it, he can catch the ball. He's very dominant at the point of attack, and I think that there's a world in which he has some value, but at the end of the day, you have to see it. Before you do anything, like I said, it's a late round. If you can't get him as the last pick in your draft, then just don't even bother.
I can get behind the Byron Pringle train. I drafted him when he was a rookie. I had him on my taxi squad for 2 years, and he never got any play, so I dropped him. But I initially picked him up because I watched him in a preseason game in his rookie season. I was like, oh, this kid looked like he got something. So I picked him up, but they just never played him.
Mm-hmm.
But he's definitely flashed. So I could see him. And now the Lizard King is gone. What the boy name?
Sammy Watkins.
Sammy Watkins is gone. So he has a chance to come up the depth chart.
If your name is not Tyreek or Travis, you can be good.
Yeah.
You can have that blow up game, but am I going to play you that week? Probably not.
Yeah. We've been waiting on Demarcus Robinson.
You know what I'm saying?
How long?
But see, I think Pringle has a good shot to, like, who's ahead of him? Robinson and Hardman, who hasn't really solidified anything because they can't take control of their opportunities. So if he plays well enough, he could see some serious target share.
I'm avoiding the headache.
I would too, but like Theo say, you getting this with your last pick in the draft, or you stashing him on deep in your bench and just see some. This is only if you have a roster spot though.
No,
you ain't dropping nobody for him.
No,
hey, mark this day. Mark this day. When Pringle break out, we can have a 30-minute session talking about it.
30, yes.
Please do.
And guess what? We can have all the flavors of Pringles laid out in front of you.
That's a good one.
We will crunch them in your ear one by one.
And
the
then
flavors of Pringle.
And then the next week, I will take my 30 minutes to show you that he will completely disappear, And then the next week, I will show you the same thing again.
All right.
You know, all of these guys, football wise, are great guys. They can catch the ball. They can do whatever Andy Reid wants them to do. But as Andy Reid has shown, he can switch it up anytime, any game. And so if you're not
Who
Tyreek,
was Sean?
And Andy Reid, you mean? Andy Reid.
sorry, Andy Reid.
I was like, who was Andrew Reid? This a receiver I
Uh,
never heard about.
Yeah, Andy Reid. And so if you're not Tyreek or Kelce, I'm avoiding it.
Well, just to end it off, Kelce, you know, we already know Kelce is the number one right tight end. There's nothing else to speak about. Would you guys take him in the first round?
I've seen it work out in a few mock drafts. It's still a little bit too daring for me, as risky as
It's
I
a
am.
very risky strategy. Like
Right,
everything has to fall your way for that to work.
right.
That's too rich for my blood. I don't think I could ever pull the trigger on that.
What?
It would be tough, but if I was on the turn, I think I could do it. I mean, at the 12th pick, you know, or even at the 11th pick, I could do it knowing that I had another pick coming really close. I think that's one of the situations, and I think that's generally the situation where he is going in. You know, you're not getting Kelce unless you're willing to give up a first or second round for him. So I think
feel
where it makes sense is there because you can quickly kind of make up for that pick and grab the next best running back or wide receiver and then move on from there.
Even if I was on
build
turn,
your team.
I would still
You
just
still
draft him
take the receiver
second,
first
just-
and then hope.
just
So you can
just to feel better about myself.
Oh, me too.
I mean, the thing about it is, what we have to remember is that, as we keep saying, you know, the tight end, there's nothing past those first couple of names. The guy is so dominant. The guy provides you wide receiver numbers at tight end, and consistently. No one else gives you this. You know,
I'm not
literally
disputing that fact.
you have a leg up on your player whoever
But
you're going up against.
I just feel that the moment I do it is the moment he's not going to perform, and I would feel so stupid the entire year, and I wouldn't be able to forgive myself.
I mean, that's fair enough.
Because look at Zach Ertz. Look at Zach Ertz. He was nearing that echelon where you were like, "Yo, I need to take him
He
early."
was.
Yeah.
And
He was
then
there
he
for like
was-
half a season, then he
right.
Mhm.
And I can't remember Kelce's age, but he has some age on him. I think he's maybe fifth or sixth year in the league.
But this is one. But I mean, also for tight ends, you know, they're like the anti-running back. They kind of get better with age, to a certain point. Kelce, I think, still has 2 or 3 more years
I agree. He has like 2 or 3 more elite years.
of doing this. For
Especially
me,
if he
I
stays in
would
Kansas
take
City.
that risk. On late in the first, early in the second.
Okay. More power to you,
Come on, go big or go home.
Mr. Steele.
Sometimes you gotta make that big play, but it's all about, at the end of the day, it's all about how you play the rest of that draft. If you make a pick like that in your draft, no more risk. You've taken your risk.
Yeah,
You've made
gotta
your
go by
risky
the book.
pick. You have to evolve your draft strategy to go along with what you did. You did a risky thing in the beginning. That's
Yeah.
fine. Make sure and get that depth at wide receiver and running back so that if the worst does happen, you're not hurting so much.
Yeah. Good advice for those risk takers.
Definitely. Well, all right.
All righty, guys.
We made it through another episode, another show. We have actually 2 more divisions to go, Sander.
Yeah, I saw.
But we'll talk to you after the show about your outside activity.
Right, yeah, we definitely gonna be hiring. What's that show, that investigative show where the guy,
I just-
To catch a
I
cheetah.
assume
To catch a fantasy cheetah.
yes.
I assumed because we did the NFC East, we did the AFC East as well.
No.
Don't
We
try to-
haven't
don't
been
try to
that
make
we
up
haven't been
now.
that organized, Sandra. Sorry, we haven't.
We
Um,
have been in the later episodes
You're digging yourself deeper.
because we did
Sandra.
NFC South, AFC South, NFC West, AFC West. Just those first 2 we didn't do.
You're not making it any better.
Okay. Our last 2 divisions will be the NFC North and the AFC East.
Right.
Maybe we'll do a 2 for next episode and just
Yeah.
finish it.
Finisher.
We ain't
We'll see.
squishing. We're not gonna squash an episode with the Patriots. We're giving them an episode by themselves.
Oh,
right, just
okay.
wait.
You don't chip
Okay.
the division. All y'all had y'all
I
time.
mean, dude,
Boy,
what?
I-
Should we just talk about the Patriots now for this next minute of the
I,
show?
I think we got
Are
10
you-
seconds to spare.
You think?
All
Yeah,
right,
I think
guys,
we.
Thank you so much for joining us this episode. We'll see you next week.
Let's wrap it up
Same
properly.
place, same time.
Yeah, we appreciate everyone for tuning in. Definitely check us out on all of our social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, Couch Champions for Twitter, that's Champions Couch, and on YouTube at the Couch Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Thank you for everything you've been doing so far, for all of the subscriptions. Now, share. Now that you have followed,
Share it up.
come on, share the love, baby.
Share
Give it up.
buddy.
You know, it's okay. Share it to your league mates. You want challenge in your league, man. Come on, you don't want to you do want to just dominate. But, you know,
I understand you may
share
want to
the
keep
league.
it a secret.
Sometimes you want to keep it to yourself, but don't do that, man. Come on. Help your boy out.
Share.
Share the scare.
Share.
All right, people.
Share it.
Thank you guys so much.
Share it.
We will definitely see you next week for another episode of the Couch Champions Fantasy Football Podcast.
All right, guys.